I'm an architect and specializing in sustainable design. So in terms of the biggest accomplishment, especially right now in August 2020, I can tell you that the biggest accomplishment is my establishment of my own architectural practice. So go back to 3 years ago in August 2017. At that time, I start my own firm, Tony Yip Green Architects. I really have a very strong vision to design architecture and urbanscape in social and environmental sustainable way. So I start my own firm right now, 3 years. I can tell you that the journey is extremely challenging but rewarding. So at this moment, still survive, and not a big firm. Right now, I have 10 full-time staff. It's a sizable firm. We can take up quite a wide spectrum of architectural design. So I think it is really an accomplishment to me, and it's still ongoing. I hope that I can do more green architecture for the society. Yes, and actually when I was young, when I was in secondary school, at that time I already aimed at to be an architect. Not really sustainable or green architect, but at that time I love drawings, I love design. And actually I studied in a technical school, major in science, but I love design, so I have self-study on arts and design, and I really prepare for the to enroll in university for study architecture. But at that time my academic achievement was not good enough, so my first degree was in engineering school. Because of my family background, I couldn't afford to change my subject in school. I need to work as soon as possible. So after graduation, I practiced as a graduate engineer for 3 years. And at that time, with great support from my family, I took a great step. I give up my job, and then I go to study architecture. So when I study architecture, I'm so fortunate. I have the chance to got the student scholarship offered by the Hong Kong Institute of Architects. That was the traveling scholarship. So that can give us a chance to go to visit one of the most sustainable city in the world. That city, the name is Curitiba, which is located in the south part of Brazil. So I visit there with some fellow architects, and that city was fantastic. The city very clean, very well organized. Almost 70% of people use public transport. 90% of the solid waste we use recycle. And even we visit some building located in the abandoned quarry, and they make use of the natural materials to give the whole site to be more biodiversified, and everything very nice. Please remember that was located in southern part of Brazil. Can make such a fantastic sustainable city. One of the reasons is the mayor. The mayor was an architect. He took up that job for 12 years and revamped the whole city to be so sustainable. After that trip, go back to Hong Kong, I just thought that why we are in a so well-developed city with so many resources, why don't we take more actions on environmental awareness, put more effort to build up the sustainable city. So afterwards, I got a very fabulous chance to study in Cambridge. That was the part-time study. That course, namely master degree for the interdisciplinary for the built environment. And I remember that there was a series of lecture regarding the engineering, the advanced engineering. And one of the lecture mentioned about the global crisis. There are several professors from different disciplines in engineering just told us that the planet only have not more than 20 years because of different crises. The energy crisis, the water crisis, even for the virus or some extinctions of species. The world, you can't choose whether you can help to make it survival. You can only do at this moment, take action to make a change for this climate urgency. So I at that time, it really gave me a great impact because, you know, you as an architect, you design the city, you design the building. What are you going to do? Is it you just to make it more nice, more beautiful, or make the people more enjoy the space? Or you can make a bigger vision. The city is not just for human enjoyment, but also for the nature, for sustainable. And that's why that give me more strong belief what the way to deal with the architecture. And at that time, I was so fortunate. Go back to 2012, I got the chance to design this building, zero carbon building. This is the first zero carbon building in Hong Kong. At that time, I got the chance to act as the project and design architect in collaboration with different disciplines, put all the things together to build this building to exemplify, even in our high-rise, high-density city, we still can have ways to put forward the environmental sustainability. So that is what my experience in my professional life as a green architect. Yes. So the one, I think one of the design strategies for that zero carbon building at the very beginning is not just a building. It created a community. So here is a park without any fence wall, without any boundary. People can flow through at different entrances. We don't have the physical boundary. Even for the nature, we have the first urban native woodland. So the biohabitats, the birds, butterfly, they love here because we have the native species which can facilitate them use less water for irrigation, so and so. So there are many strategies. What we are going to create is not just demonstration of a single building, but we want to create a community for all. What I mean for all is not just for neighbors, for human, but also for nature. So the biggest challenge in my life, my career, was how can I become an architect, or how can I get the chance to study architect. As I mentioned before, when I was young, I love architecture, but I couldn't get enrolled in School of Architecture when I first in university. And afterwards, working as a graduate engineer for several years. At that time, I really want to realize my dream. I applied the school again, but at that time, the school also rejected my application. I still remember that moment. I received a call from the school, told me that, okay, your application was failed. We couldn't offer you any interview. At that time, I still remember that moment. I was so frustrated. Why I love architecture. I well prepare all the portfolio, all the things. Why you didn't just give me a chance for an interview? Let me express how I love architecture. Let me show you my ability. I can study architecture very good. No, but I was so fortunate. At that time, I got another chance to study architecture in City University of Hong Kong in collaboration with the Queensland University of Technology. That time they organized a joint degree program. Honestly, I was not qualified for that program because that program offered for students with high diploma in architecture. But I really insist on study that, and then I did my portfolio, showed to the professor, convinced them, talked to them day by day, and then they gave me a chance for that top-up course. And at that top-up course, I performed very well. I did all the model. I showed my passion. And eventually, because of my academic background in engineering, somehow some related, and the Queensland University of Technology that offered that degree course accept me. So I got the chance to study architecture back in 2003, 2001 to 2003. And you still can remember that was also another challenging time. We need to wear masks because of SARS. In the graduation year 2003, I still remember we suffer for that virus. So we need to got a very difficult time for the presentation, for all the lectures. But I really enjoy the moment to study architecture. So I got the very good academic result. I got the distinction for that bachelor course. At that time, I applied because if you want to be an architect, you have to receive the bachelor and master degrees. So at that time, I finished the bachelor degree, applied Hong Kong U for the master degree. Okay, that was another challenge there. Applied, no reply. I didn't got any response for an interview. Because of my previous experience, I learned that if you really want to do something, you have to insist, and you have to find ways to get other people to help you, give other people understand your vision. So at that time, I visit the professor, convinced them to give me a chance. I asked some previous boss in engineering firm, asked them to help me to do some reference letter, and also I did many things. Eventually, I was offered a chance to an interview. That was a very dramatic moment. When I go into the interview room, two professors sat there, and the first sentence they told me that, Tony, our school do not accept you because we think that you haven't thought through. You received the bachelor degree on engineering, you practice as a graduate engineer for several years. You can be a very successful professional engineer. Why you come back to school to study architecture? And after graduation, you will be a green graduate instead of you will be a very experienced. Even you are so innovative in design. You can contribute in the engineering world. But what I believe is, I really love architecture. I just want to have a chance to pursue my dream. So I told the professors that even you don't accept me because of my qualification, which is not good enough to study master degree, can you accept me as a student for year 3 in bachelor, even year 2 or year 1? Because I really love architecture. I really want to get enrolled in your program. And a professor, and then we don't give you chance, as we already told you. Interview finished. After a week, I received an offer. So I don't know, that gives me more passion on architecture, because it's very difficult to get a chance. And then I enjoy every moment when I study in school. So somehow I think this is the most challenging part in my life. At that time, I don't know, I just know that this is my vision I really want to achieve. And it spent 10 years, but at this moment I think it's valuable. Definitely my family and friends, especially my family, my father, he gave me unlimited support, and also especially my wife. Why? Because my wife, when I met her, I was an engineering student back to 20 years ago. And at that time, what she know me should be as a engineering graduate and become an engineer, establish a family, and should have a very good, in future, stable life. But after practice for 3 years, working for 3 years, I told her that I need to go back to school to realize my dream. She didn't tell me anything, just support me. And I fully understand he also receive, or he have quite a lot pressure from her family as well. You know, as a graduate working for 3 years, I'm not have a rich family background. She also, why just give up a very good prospect, professional, and go back to school? No one can understand. But my wife fully support me, and her support really give me so big spiritual energy, push all the things should do much better. That's why after graduation from architectural school, first thing I did is we got married, and then I really put all my energy to my job, and just to show what I can do as much as possible in my career. And it was so fortunate and rewarding. After practice for 5 years, go back to 2010, I received the Hong Kong Institute of Architects, the Young Architect Award. And that award is too much to me, not to justify what I can achieve. It's as a thank for my wife and my family. Their support really means much to me to put forward in my career. Apart from them, I'm so fortunate to have full support with my friends and also some fellow architects. And they give us valuable advice and strong encouragement throughout my whole career life. So that what I can do is the same what they deliver. That's why, apart from my job, I also get involved in several NGO to serve the community, especially for the educational programs. Hope can deliver more positive message and explain if they have the vision, or to explain what is the architectural career. If they find this interest, you can well prepare yourself, no matter how you can achieve at the end. So I think this COVID-19 to us, there are two things we have to rethink. One is why we have COVID-19, and that is not just this virus, and it may be another virus in the future. So first is how you can adapt this situation. And if you have your own vision, if you have your own task to do, you should not give up. You should change the way to accomplish your mission in such situation, because this situation will go, but another crisis will come. So you cannot just wait for the crisis and then start up again. You have to adapt this situation and do what you can do to accomplish your mission, to reach your vision. So you cannot stop. You should be flexible and adaptive. The other issue is why happening of such situation. So we should mitigate. That comes to the environmental sustainability, like the climate change. The climate is changing and the global warming. So we should mitigate. In case of such situation will come again, we should prevent this happen again. So we should take action to change the world, to change the relationship of the human and the nature. We should take more action for the environmental sustainability. So these two things, hope we all can bear in mind. It's simple. As a green architect, what we believe is there is no resilience in terms of the climate urgency. The climate is changing, become much worse, and there's no resilience for us to wait and see what we can do. What we should do is take action to rectify the situation, to rebuild the relationship of the human and the nature, to change the climate to be more sustainable. Yes.
Thank you very much, Tony, for your time and sharing your inspirations. Yeah, we learn a lot from you.
Okay. Thank you.